What we will be covering is read receipts, confidential mode, blocking emails, categories, creating filters. I'm going to spend the most time on that, and translating message text. Each of these topics is linked to the exact slide where you will find that information. Google Basics, and I'll be referring to these just, the waffle, the kebab, or the hamburger. And help is in every single Google tool. Today, we're definitely going to be using the settings. All right, just those basics, and then let me get down to our advanced. Here we go. So first, I'm going to go through the topic in a very linear manner. And then I'm going to go into Gmail, where things look a lot more confusing because there's so much more on the screen. So the first thing that we'll cover, it's fast, is just read receipts. This is a tool that I have only used a handful of times in my past 16 years or whatever. And all you need to do is at the bottom of your Gmail message, where you see the kebab next to the trash can, you click on it and you select more send options, and then you select request read receipt. Now, if there's a BCC, a blind copy on that message, that person is not going to kick back a read receipt when they open it. So only folks that are in the to and the CC field will initiate that read receipt being sent to your email. So I'm going to go into, actually, I think I want to go over the next topic as well, because read receipt is really easy. Confidential mode. So confidential mode, what that does is it replaces the text of an email with a link. And there's an expiration date. Folks who get a message that is sent confidentially cannot download any attachments. They can't forward it to anyone. So it's really just conversation between you and whoever that message is going to, and that's it. And you can set an expiration date so that after that time period, that the reader cannot even access that information if it's that sensitive. So I'll go ahead and show you those two different features in Gmail before we go on to the next topic. All right. So read receipt. Let me go ahead and click compose. And I'll just put, my own name in here. If I go down to the bottom right corner, more options, and I click request read receipt, it's already set. Then if I send a message, and I did try this with myself, I don't get a read receipt if I open my own message sent with a read receipt. It will show up like there will be a yellow bar at the bottom of the message that says that it was sent with a read receipt, but you will not get a read receipt. But that's all that you need to do. And there might be times that if you're contacting a parent or there's a staff member, there are occasions where this might be very handy for you, just to confirm that yes, they saw it, whether or not they decide that they want to acknowledge it with a message back to you. So the other feature, which is sending those confidential messages, there is a little lock with a clock on it, a clock face. And you click on that, that's where you get the option. And it's letting you know that you can set these different expiration dates for it. If you wanted to make it super secure, you could require a passcode. I've never done that before, but you could if you wanted to. All right, so those are the basics. I think they have limited use, but they're really good to know about. All right, let's go back. All right, blocking emails. This is something that I should probably do more because I get a lot of advertisements. So there are two ways to do this. It depends whether or not the email is actually spam and you need to report it, or if it's just a sender that you just don't want to receive any messages from anymore. So there are two ways to do it. And the little icons that you're looking for, or the icon is a little stop sign with an exclamation mark, and that shows up at the top of your messages. And then when you click the kebab, when you actually open a message, you have an option to report spam and unsubscribe. And let's see if there was anything I wanted to add to that. Okay. Yeah. So this is just the second view, and you'll get a confirmation if you're trying to actually block a sender. And if you block a sender, not just report them to spam, if you're blocking them, what will happen is that there's a list in Gmail settings that you can refer back to. That's not that you're blocking someone forever. You might have even accidentally blocked someone and didn't realize it. And there's a list that I'll show you where to find so you can see anyone that's blocked in your email. Okay, so there are 3 slides on blocking. The first 2 show the ways that you would block or report spam. And then this last one is just walking you through the steps of finding all of those blocked addresses in your settings. So let's go into Gmail and do that. All right. So let me find something. I know if I click the promotions tab that I will find something that I want to block. Here we go. What's my anti-aging skin goal? I have many. So I can click on that. Let's see. And so up at the top, here is that report spam. And I can unsubscribe if I wanted to. Or I could click here and I could just go ahead and block it. And I'm just going to go ahead and block it because for the sake of showing you blocked messages in the settings, I'm going to need an address. And I honestly don't know if I've blocked anybody. So if you look under the quick settings, see all settings is where you want to navigate to. They only have the most, I don't know what Google thinks are the most frequently used settings. So you want to make sure that you see all of the different settings. And then here are all your menu items at the top. You're going to click filters and blocked addresses. So the filters are at the top. I have a ton of filters. Blocked is all the way at the bottom. So I only have one blocked address. And if I wanted to, I could select it and then I can unblock that. All right, so let's go back to the inbox and back to the presentation. I think more important than blocking the emails are the filters, and that's what we're going to be covering in just a moment. So first I'm going to go over categories, and then I'm going to go over filtering. So the categories in Gmail are, like I think I just showed you, I have my inbox. And then I have social, which is where notifications from Twitter or any other social media I follow would show up there. And then I have the promotions. That's where typically company ads and things go. There are only 5 categories. And unfortunately, Google has decided what categories they are going to make available to us. So primary is where we see the messages from folks in our own network. That's by default, that is always there. I'm not sure what IT set as our default. I think they set up social and promotions as our default because I never selected those. And when we merged to Gmail, they appeared. You also have updates and forums. So you can select from among those 5. And I'll be showing you where those are in the settings. I'll show that simultaneously when we go over the filters. So if you don't like having your mail parsed out by Google because they decide what goes where, you can change those defaults and everything will just go to primary. up to you. Okay, so the filters have saved my life. Filters, otherwise my inbox would just get too clogged, and it's already really clogged, and that's because I don't spend more time filtering my messages. So you can go into your Gmail and select a sender and decide that you want to filter those messages and what direction, what you want to do with them. Do you want them to skip your inbox? Do you want them to go to a specific, I'll call them a folder for now, but a specific topic? Do you want them just to go to spam? So there are many different actions that you can select for particular senders. For me, I like to read typically everything, or kind of keep everything until I've had time to look at it, but I don't want it sitting in my inbox. So I personally choose the skip the inbox function for, say, a bunch of the advertisements or newsletters or things that I subscribe to. There are other things. So the folder system it's really just a label that is being applied to your Gmail to categorize it. I call it folders. They even look like little folders, but really what we're doing is just applying a label, and then we're going to give a direction for what to do with that mail. All of the filters, just like the blocked messages, they're kept in your settings so that you can go back to it. You can see the different rules that you've applied to different email addresses, and you can make changes as you need to. So what we're going to do first, let me just make sure I covered everything. So I covered labels. Okay. Yep. This is going to take a little bit of time. So let's go into Gmail, and I'm going to go straight to promotions because typically this is where I need the most filters. Let's see, the Right Question Institute. Actually, the kids should see this. I always like looking at these. They're video clips for kids that are really, really good. And I always like seeing what the topic of the week was. But really, do I need to clutter my inbox with it? Probably not. So I'm going to select that message. Now, up at the top, there's a move to folder icon. And I already have, so on the left-hand side of my screen, I'm calling it folder, but again, folders and labels, you can use them interchangeably. I have many, many, many folders already created. So typically, when I select move to, I can just type at the top what folder I want it to go to, or what label I want it to go to. And I already have one for that. The kids should see this. Or I can create a new one if I wanted to. Now, I'm going to, let me take a step back. If you don't have a folder or a label for a particular sender, it's created for you as soon as you make a filter. So if you know that you're going to filter something out, you're already doing 2 times the work because it's already going to create that label for you simultaneously. So I'm going to click filter messages like this. And oh, that's interesting. It didn't populate the sender in there. It populated the words from the message text. So that was not a good example, but it's good for you to see that. So I'm going to copy this email address. Most of the time it does copy that email address. It could be because I already have a filter, something applied to it. Okay. Huh, that's weird. Okay, I'm going to choose, now I lost my ability to create a filter. I think it's because as soon as I copied that, I think I already have a filter on this one. So let me find another, someone else that I don't have a filter for. Maybe NEA Ed Justice. more. Okay, here we go. Filter messages like these. And let's see. It's not giving me the email address. This is maybe I have a filter for that too. Let's try this. Okay. That's funny that it is behaving. Okay, let me go back to it. I think it applied the filter. I think I know what happened. Okay, so now I should have that. Filter messages like this. Okay, so I'm going to delete this where it says has the words, and now I'm going to paste the sender. There we go. So now I'm going to click Create Filter. And here's the option. So if you don't want message from a particular sender to clutter up your inbox, go to Skip the Inbox. Archiving is not deleting. Archiving is simply placing it in a location for you to view later. All of your archived messages are still in your Gmail. That's a huge misconception that some folks have, that archiving, it disappears or it's trashed. It's not. That just means that you're going to view it later. So now I'm going to apply a label. So remember I said you can create a label. You're doing 2 steps at once when you create a filter. So now I'm going to click, actually you can even, usually you can type it in, but let's see, NEA, Ed Justice. And I have, like I said, many folders. So I'm going to select these are all of my folders. Yep, schools, teachers, all of it. I am pretty ridiculous. I'm going to put it under my online subscriptions, create. Now it says that there are 5 matching conversations. That means there are 5 other messages from that address that, currently don't have that filter applied to it. So I'm going to go ahead and select that as well. The categories, remember I said Google pre-selects what mail goes to the different categories. This one already went to the promotions tab, I believe. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I'm not going to select that. But if something is getting sent to your inbox that should be in promos, or say something from your principal or the district is showing up in social or promos and you need it to go to your inbox, this is how you would change that. So you would create a filter and then you would change that category. So I'm going to go ahead and create that filter. Okay. So now going forward, when I get messages from NEA, it's not going to go into that promo tab. I have to make sure that I go to the folder once a week, my NEA folder, and I check that, and I check the messages. Oh, how do you make a folder? Okay, so there are 2 ways, and I know I just went over a lot, so thank you for that question because we have time. There are 2 ways to create a folder. Let me go to the promotions tab again. So one way to create a folder is you just click on the message before you even open it. And you select this little move to icon. That is prompting you to create a label or a folder. And I think I already have one for this one. Let's put in NPR and see what comes up. Yeah, so this one, I already have one for NPR. But if I didn't, let's say I don't have one, I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to click Create New. And I'm going to put in Life Kit from NPR. So by the way, I've done this for every school. I have a folder for every single school, definitely every elementary in the district. I have a folder for every single teacher that I've worked with. So it's if you work with parents or whoever you interface with, different staff members, this is a really nice way to quickly organize, because as soon as you make this label, you can search your Gmail with that label and it'll bring everything up for you. So I'm going to go ahead and put that underneath my online subscriptions, which you can see I have many of. Oh my goodness. Events. Okay, if I can't, there we go. I was gonna say, if I can't get it quickly enough, I'm gonna have to abort that mission. There we go. So that is one way to create a folder without filtering. You have to go one by one through the messages though, and then you have to click them. So here's, one for NEA. I have to click on it. I have to click on that little move to folder icon and then either create a new folder or select the folder it belongs to. The nice thing about the filtering is that going forward, after you create a filter, you don't have to move those messages anymore. They automatically move them to that folder or that label that you can see here on the side. So on the left side of my Gmail. So that's one place that you can view them. Now, the second way to create that folder is when you go ahead and make that filter. So I'm going to go ahead and open this message. Filter messages like these. Okay, so it has this list on there. I'm going to go, just for now, I'm going to keep it just for the sake of not going through all those different steps again. Because typically you'll see the sender here, who it's from. If that is not filled in for you, just copy and paste who the sender is. And now I'm going to create a filter. I'm going to say skip the inbox. And then I'm going to apply the label. Remember, label is the same thing as folder. So I'm going to choose the label. And I think I need a new label for this one. I think it was called like Thought Partner. I'll show you where to go and edit those later. And again, I'm going to nest that label because I have a master folder for all of the different companies that send me newsletters or products, online subscriptions, create. Okay, so now, and by the way, if it is spam or if it's not spam, you can click never send it to spam. You can also select that you want it deleted. It's already in the right category, and I'm going to apply this filter to 13 matching conversations. Create filter. Now that applying it to the 13 other conversations is deceptive. Since it's already in my inbox, it clearly did not skip the inbox. So for the older messages that are in the inbox before you create the filter, it will apply the label to it, but you actually have to go and move it yourself. So if I click, so if I click on the little label, if I wanted to check this little arrow here, it's letting me know that yes, it did label it to online subscriptions and to the Thought Partner folder that I created. Let's see. Are there any other questions about that before I go on to settings and show you where those labels appear? Okay, so now let's look at where that information is kept. So again, I'm going to go up to settings and I'm going to click see all settings. Up at the top, so there's labels, and those are, again, all of the folders that I have created will show up if I click on there. And I said I was going to show you where the categories are. So when you click on labels, this is where you can find those 5 categories that Google has decided that that we need. And you can decide whether or not you want to show or hide those categories. Then there are all the labels that I have created. And here I have different options to show or hide those different labels on the sidebar of my Gmail. And I can also remove and I can edit them. Okay, so those are just the folders separate from filters because I have more labels than I have filters. Now I'm going to click on where it says filters and blocked addresses. And this is where I can edit the different rules for the different senders. So here are all of the different filters that I have set up so far. And let's see, this one that I just made Thought Partner, when I went back, I think it was called Thoughtful Learning. So I'm going to edit that one. I'm going to select. And by the way, it's showing you underneath what rules I set for it. So going forward, mail with those keywords is going to skip my inbox, and it's going to apply that label. So let me edit this one. Continue. And apply the label. Well, I'll have to change the label too. So now actually I need to go in and click new label, and it's called Thoughtful Learner. A good time to be labeling and moving and filtering things is when you're standing in line waiting to get into a store. Okay, so now it's changed it, and now I need to update that filter. There we go. All right. So let me click off of that, go back to the inbox. And there's only one more topic we're going to go over because I want to honor 10 minutes for just covering other questions. Okay, let's see what's in chat. The settings icon is in the upper right-hand corner. So right next to where you see your little Google Gmail icon and then the Google Apps waffle, there's a little snowflake. And when you press that, make sure to click See All Settings. And then that will bring up all of the different menu items at the top that you can go to. Good question, thank you. All right, so the last topic I'm going to go over, and I think I'm going to just stay in Gmail for it. I'm not going to go back to the slide deck because it is it's not too complicated compared to filters. If you thought that was very complicated, you're absolutely correct. That's why this is Gmail Next Steps. This is being recorded. Please go back and slow the video down to whatever pace you need. And the slide deck also is labeled really clearly. So between the two of those, I think that will be enough support, but please email me with any questions. I'm happy to help out. So I'm going to show you how to translate messages. And what's really cool about this is that you can bypass Google Translate if you're sending something out by using this. But if you get messages from parents that are in a different language, then you will be able to instantly just translate them to whatever message you want. Okay, let's see. There's some sort of a filter on here that I want to get rid of. I think I need to refresh it. Let's just do this one. Okay, there's a lot of text. So I had already, let me go ahead and close this out because I'd already turned on the translating. Within every message you open, there are the 3 settings dots in the right-hand corner. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click, where is... Where's my more? Or did I miss it? Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I just turned it off. Let me refresh it. So it should say translate. Oh, okay. I think I just turned it on. I must have done some sort of a default. When you click the 3 dots, one of these options is going to say translate, and it's in. I did screenshot it properly in my slide deck, but I think I probably permanently turned it on. So this message is already, has been identified as English, but if I wanted to, I could change it to Spanish, I could change it to Arabic, I could change it to Portuguese, any of the languages on this list. So if you receive a message from someone in another language, click the 3 dots and you will see the translate message, the translate option. When you click that, this is what shows up. So right now, let's just see what it looks like when you click translate message. So last night, when I was making the slide for this, I was playing with it. The cool thing about, having this all within Gmail is that I don't have to copy the text, go into Google Translate, then paste it, then copy that, then go back and paste it again. What I'm going to do if I want to send a message in multiple languages is I'm going to compose it in English, send it to myself. Okay, you have to send it to yourself. You don't have the option to translate when you go to a new message. So send it to yourself, and then you can translate to however many languages you need and just send it right out. And the cool thing about it is that if you have any closing text at the bottom, it translates everything, which is nice, because when you're using Google Translate, you'd have to like copy and paste and go back and forth for a bunch of different elements. All right, so that's everything that I wanted to cover. And I know I compacted a longer session into a much shorter period of time. I do want to show you the slide on translating because you didn't see the option. I think, yeah, I must have turned it on and now it's a default. So when you click the three dots, you will see it's pretty far down on the list, third from the bottom, but you will see that option to translate that message, and then it'll bring up that bar with the different language options that I showed you. Okay, so I'm going to come back. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and ask if there are any questions. There is one other thing I can share. I'm going to go ahead and just share it because it's not obvious. It's something that I learned actually when I was preparing the next presentation, and that is how to color code the labels in your Gmail. So let's escape out of there. On the left-hand side, you will see all of the different labels, right? The labels / folders that you've made. And you might notice it's very faint, but some of mine are yellow. I also have there are some other colors in there too. But to change the color, so if there is a sender or a label that you want to access right away, if you hover over that label, 3 dots will appear. And then when you click on it, you can select a label color. So like for me, any messages I get from Laurie Roberts show up in red. It's usually something I need to look at immediately. Now, I also have the option too, because all of my labels are showing up here on the side. I have the options to hide some of those labels that I don't need to have all of the time, and just show only the ones that I'm going to use on a recurring regular basis. That doesn't mean that they're being deleted. It's just that if you want to see them, you're going to either have to search for them in the toolbar, or you're going to have to go to the settings and then go into where the filters are. But that's kind of cool to know about, because there are a few senders and a few labels that I need to search through right away to find something, or I just immediately want to see everything sent by that person, and then I can just click here on the side and it'll go ahead and do that for me right away. And there you can see Laurie's name is here in red because every time I get something that she's included in, it turns red. All right, now I'll stop sharing. That's the last bit.